Hey everyone, today I want to talk to you about the weather, and specifically I want to talk to you about some advanced phrasal verbs that you can use to, well, not just have conversation and talk about the weather, but really make specific observations about, well, what is happening right now or what will happen in the future. And this is useful because, well, people are outside all the time and the weather changes. So it can be useful to point these things out and talk about what's going to happen with the weather, especially when you're making plans with other people. So we're not going to get into phrasal verbs that I think are a little easier, like, wow, it's really heating up, which is it's getting hotter, or, well, it's starting to cool down, which means it's getting colder. I think many of you may be familiar with those, and you could probably put them into context. These phrasal verbs, however, will help you provide a little more information, a little more nuance, a little more flavor to the conversation whenever you want to make an observation about the weather. So the first phrasal verb I have for you is to let up. And a common sentence that you might hear, somebody would make the observation, well, I think it's starting to let up. It means that it's starting to become less severe than it previously was. And often you would use this to talk about either the rain or the snow. So for example, if you are somewhere and it just starts raining really hard and you run and take shelter and you just have to wait. So you might wait for a little while and then over time it's going to become less severe and you could say, well, I think it's starting to let up. Are you ready? Let's go ahead and leave. Let's go back out there in the rain because it's starting to let up. And as you can probably guess, once a rainstorm or a snowstorm begins to let up, after a while, most of the time it's just going to stop. So it's really severe, then it starts to let up, and then it stops. To let up, to become less severe.
No, I know, but it looks like my flight's canceled.
And no one's flying until this weather lets up.
Then we have rained out, and this just means that some kind of event or activity that it cannot take place because of the rain. And I think of sports quite often. There is some kind of match that takes place outside, and you can't play. There's just too much rain, and you say, well, the game got rained out. We can't do this because of the rain. It got rained out.
Yeah, but we drove.
We could drive back. We could watch the parade.
It's rained out.
Says who?
Another great weather phrasal verb is to blow over, and this just means to come to a quick end. And we often use it when talking about a storm. Again, it could be rain, it could be snow, and you say that it's going to blow over. And you can kind of think about it based on what those individual words mean, that you have some kind of storm and it is blowing over and then it's done. It's already passed by, it has blown over, and it's come to an end. There's no more. And I think we use it. I think I use this quite often when you're saying something that you think is going to happen and you think, well, there are some dark clouds, but I think the storm's going to blow over. I don't think it's going to last. It will come to an end shortly. It's going to blow over. Then we have to clear up. And this just means that the weather becomes more pleasant or more agreeable. And you could say, well, it's going to clear up. So we're talking about a situation in which it is raining or it is snowing. And you say that, well, in the future, it's going to clear up. It's going to become more pleasant and it's going to stop. I think we can often use it when expressing your hopes or desires, and you say, I hope that it clears up soon. Or you could say, well, it's raining pretty hard right now, but I think it's going to clear up by this afternoon. To clear up, to become more pleasant or more agreeable.
Gray skies are gonna clear up.
Pretty soon the sky is gonna clear up, Charlie.
The crazy weather cleared up too, for whatever reason.
Then we have breakthrough, and this just means that it is starting to appear. And in this case, you're mostly talking about the sun, that the sun is starting to break through the clouds. That is a common way in which this phrasal verb might be used. So let me give you an example. I could say that, well, the storm has blown over, the sun is starting to break through, which means, well, very soon the weather's going to clear up and it's going to be a nice and pleasant day. And as you can see, you can use these phrasal verbs multiple times to talk about a variety of situations.
Once you break through the clouds to the clear blue beyond, the space.
Next is roll in, and if something rolls in, it just appears in a large amount. And When I think of this phrasal verb, I think of you're talking about perhaps some dark clouds. Often, I think you might be talking about the fog. So the fog starts to roll in, which means it's appearing in large amounts. And then you could say, well, I really hope this clears up soon. I have places to go, people to see. I hope it clears up soon and that this just blows right over and it goes away. And I'm just going to keep using these phrasal verbs throughout all of these examples just to help you remember and better understand what they mean.
Years ago, malaria was a sunny land of farmers until the mysterious storm clouds rolled in and never left.
Then we have pick up. And if we're talking about a storm, specifically rain or snow, if you say it's starting to pick up, it means it's starting to get stronger. So you would use this phrasal verb when making an observation about maybe the rain, the snow, or even the wind. And you could say, wow, that wind is really starting to pick up and it is getting stronger. Or that rain, it's really starting to pick up outside. And if it continues to pick up, well, then the match might get rained out and we won't be able to play. So if you want to talk about weather that is getting less strong and is the opposite of pick up, then you would use the phrasal verb die down. To die down is to refer to rain, snow, wind, often those three things. And you want to say that it is getting less strong. It's getting weaker. It's starting to die down. And depending on what you're talking about, you may use these together quite often. So perhaps you're doing an activity in which, well, the wind is good. Maybe you're flying a kite and you say, wow, I really hope the wind picks up so the kite is very easy to fly. Or maybe you're sailing a boat and it's becoming a little more difficult and say, oh no, the wind, it's starting to die down. We need it to pick up and get stronger so that the sailboat can go.
Oh, come on, Dad, the wind's dying down. We're almost to the engine.
Winds died down. They'll be here soon.
Then we have the phrasal verb hold off. And what this means is that you're referring to the weather and saying that it's not going to start yet, but it probably will in the future. And I often think of using this phrasal verb when talking about your hopes, your wishes, your desires, and you want to say that the rain is going to hold off or that the snow is going to hold off. Mostly because you have something you need to do, something you need to finish, and then it will start in the future. But right now, you're hoping that it's going to hold off. So for example, you could say, well, I really hope the rain holds off for a little bit and that we can finish the match, because if it starts to rain and then it starts to pick up, well, we're going to have to cancel the match. It's going to get rained out. So hopefully that weather, that storm will hold off. Next is a winter phrasal verb, and that is bundle up. So if you tell somebody to bundle up, or you say that you have to bundle up, it just means that you need to wear warmer clothes during cold weather. So if it's really cold outside, I might say, well, I really need to bundle up. Or maybe I'm talking to you and I say, wow, that cold weather, it just rolled right in. It's starting to snow. I don't think it's going to let up anytime soon. So, my advice, I think you should bundle up when you go out there so that you can stay warm. Bundle up.
Looks like another cold one today in the Midwest.
So bundle up, everyone.
Bundle up. It's awfully cold outside.
Let's stick with winter and snow for right now. And the next phrasal verb is snowed in. And if you say that someone is snowed in, or maybe you are snowed in, it means that you are unable to leave, you are unable to go anywhere because there's just too much snow. So if there is a huge snowstorm and it snows a lot and you are unable to leave, you can't go anywhere, you would tell somebody, well, I can't leave. We're snowed in. We have to stay where we are. We have to wait until the weather clears up because right now we're snowed in.
There was this huge snowstorm and I got snowed in.
We're snowed in.
We're trapped in the school.
Then we have beat down, and this just means to shine intensely. So because of that, you know that it's just describing the sun. We use this to describe the sun, and you could say that, the sun is just really beating down. So not only is it hot, but it really has this level of intensity, which often it just makes people uncomfortable. If you say, wow, that sun, it's really beating down right now. It's too hot. It's too uncomfortable to be outside. We need to go inside where there's air conditioner because the sun is just beating down.
Oh, let the sun beat down upon my face.
The sun, beating down on tropical waters, powers the weather systems of the globe.
So there you have it. I hope that the next time you are talking to somebody about the weather, but more specifically that you are trying to make an observation about what's happening, especially if it's snowing or raining, that you can try to use some of these phrasal verbs to talk about what you see or what you think will happen. So I hope that wherever you are in the world, the sun is starting to break through and you can just go out and enjoy the day, and that any type of bad weather will just hold off for right now, because I don't want your plans to get rained out. I really don't want you to get snowed in. And what I really want is for you guys to understand and remember these advanced phrasal verbs when you want to talk about the weather, which is why I just keep repeating them and trying to use them over and over again. So in all seriousness, I hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope you are having beautiful weather. Go out and enjoy it, and I will see you next time.